Hey guys! So today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 10 favorite Friends episodes. As you guys know, I'm obsessed with the TV show Friends, and so of course I have a list of my favorite episodes, and so I thought I would share them with you guys today. And I don't know if you guys can really tell right now, but I'm wearing my Friends jumper. I thought it was appropriate for the occasion. So yeah, in no particular order, here are my top 10 favorite Friends episodes of all time. So the first episode that I have written down is the one with the embryos, and if you guys watched my last BuzzFeed Friends quizzes video, then you know I absolutely love this episode. This is the episode whenever Monica and Rachel are betting Chandler and Joey their apartments as they go head to head to find out who knows who better, and it is just amazing. It's like my favourite episode just because of that quiz. It is held by Ross, and he asks the friends questions about each other, and it's just this really like hyped up back and forth scene thing, and I just really love it. I think it's so fun, and it'll just always be one of my favourite episodes. And the second story to that episode, which gives this episode its name title, the one with the embryos, is that Phoebe agrees to have her brother's babies, which sounds very weird, but that is also a sideline in that story. But I definitely do love this episode, mainly for the B story, I guess you would call it. I don't know, but yeah, I just think it's a really fun episode and I really enjoy it, so that definitely had to be on my top 10 list. The next episode that I really love is the one with Unagi, and this episode comes quite late on in the series of Friends, but basically this is the one where Ross is trying to teach Phoebe and Rachel the technique of Unagi, and basically what that means to Ross is being in a state of total awareness, and it's like some sort of like karate type thing. I don't know, it's just a really fun episode and I just love it. And for those of you who don't know what unagi actually is, it is eel, because that's what they talk about in the Friends episode. I'm not exactly sure what the other storyline is in that episode, but I just remember it because of unagi. It's so fun, and you know, Phoebe and Rachel do have their own like state of total awareness, which isn't unagi, it is salmon skin roll. And I just think that episode is another really fun one, and so definitely one of my favourite episodes of all time. Another episode that I really enjoy is the one with Princess Consuela, and this comes from season 10, I believe it is. This is whenever Phoebe gets married and she finds out that she can legally change her name to anything that she wants it to be. So Phoebe decides to change her name to Princess Consuela Banana Hammock, and I just really enjoy this episode because I think it's really fun. It's a central episode about Phoebe, and basically her husband Mike finds out that she changed her name to Princess Consuela, and he's not very happy about it, and so he decides to change his name to Crap Bag, and that's just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that episode, mainly just because of Phoebe and the fact that she wanted to be called Princess Consuela, because if you're going to change your name to anything in the world, why wouldn't it want to be Princess Consuela? Okay, so another episode of Friends that I really enjoy is the one with Ross's sandwich. Now, I think this one comes in season 5, and what happens in this episode is that Ross is not happy because someone at work ate his sandwich, and it wasn't just any sandwich, it was his Thanksgiving sandwich, because this episode comes just after Thanksgiving, and Ross makes his sandwich in a very particular way. He basically just puts an extra slice of bread in his Thanksgiving sandwich and calls it the moist maker, and so whenever he finds out that someone ate his sandwich, he gets really angry, and his boss thinks that he should get put on sabbatical, and it's just a really funny episode. And again, I don't really remember what the second story in that episode is. I just remember it in particular because of Ross's sandwich. So, you know, for future lesson, do not eat Ross's sandwich because he will yell at you and it will not be pretty. Another episode of Friends that I really love, again, has to do with Ross. While I was making this list, I discovered a theme that a lot of my favourite episodes have to do with things that happen to Ross, so it kind of makes me think that he's one of my favourite characters. I have no idea. But basically, the next episode that I really love is the one with the holiday armadillo. So basically, this one is around Christmas time, and Ross is trying to teach his son Ben about Hanukkah. But Ben doesn't really want to learn about Hanukkah. Ben wants to celebrate Christmas and wants a visit from Santa. And because Susan always dresses up as Santa every year, Ross decides he needs to get a Santa suit, but it's too late to get a Santa suit, so instead he becomes the holiday armadillo to teach Ben about Hanukkah. And again, it's just a really fun episode. It has Dylan/Cole Sprice in it playing Ben, and yeah, I just really enjoy that episode as well. Another episode of Friends that I found myself watching all the time is the one with all the cheesecakes. And in this episode, Chandler and Rachel can't stop stealing the cheesecake that's delivered to someone else in their building. Chandler basically discovers it one day outside someone's apartment and decides to take it back to his apartment. And Rachel is the one that decides, hey, why don't we eat it? And they basically become obsessed with this cheesecake and can't stop eating it. And I think this is like the only episode to really have a side story that involves Rachel and Chandler, but it's a really great story. And again, not really sure what the second story is, but the second story is not important. What's important is that Rachel and Chandler get really obsessed with eating this cheesecake, so much so that they will eat it off the floor. And again, it's just a really fun episode. The 7th episode of Friends that I really love to watch is the one with Monica's boots, and I think this one happens in season 10 or season 9, but basically Monica buys this pair of really expensive boots and Chandler is not happy about it, but Monica convinces him that the boots are an investment and that she'll wear them all the time because she can wear them with trousers, she can wear them with skirts. They're perfect for every occasion. And so to prove to Chandler that these boots were the best investment of her life, she has to wear them everywhere, which in turn makes Monica hate the boots because they kill her feet. And again, it's just a really funny episode. Not exactly sure what the second story in that is either. I'm really bad at this, but yeah, I just think that it's a really nice episode, especially to see Monica go a little crazy with something that isn't cleaning or cooking. It's about a pair of boots, and normally you would think that was Rachel's thing, to buy a pair of boots that she doesn't really need, but no, I really enjoyed it, and the fact that it was Monica. Another episode of Friends that I really enjoy, which again includes Ross, is the one with Ross's tan. I think this happens quite early in the series, but basically Ross decides to get a spray tan and he doesn't know how tanning booths work, and so when he's in there he ends up only getting his front half tanned rather than the back half, because whenever he was told to go into the tanning booth, he was told to count to 3 and then turn around, and he didn't know whether he should count Mississippi or not, as in 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, or just 1, 2, 3. And so yeah, basically he counts using 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and he ends up only getting his front tanned because he didn't turn in time. And yeah, it is a very entertaining episode. Ross should just stick to being a very pale person because the tan just doesn't look good on him, and it is just really funny, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, definitely Ross is not the best when it comes to beautifying himself, which leads very well on to the next episode of Friends, which I really love to watch, and that is the one with Ross's teeth. Now in this episode, Ross is teeth whitening before he goes on a date, but he accidentally leaves the teeth whitening thing on too long, and his teeth become mega white. And yeah, that is just another really fun episode. Ross should just stick to being his normal self and not try to alter himself to make himself look better, because it just doesn't work for him. Like, the tanning didn't work for him, his teeth thing didn't work for him. He also shouldn't play the bagpipes or the keyboard, but that's a whole other thing. And then basically whenever Ross goes on his date with this girl, she's a black light, and so obviously his teeth glow in that, and it's just really funny, and I really enjoy that episode as well. And finally, my last favourite episode of Friends is the one with the cop. And in this episode, Ross gets a new sofa, and it is one of the best scenes of Friends of all time, and it is the one where Ross tries to get the sofa up flights of stairs to his apartment because the elevator's broken, and he doesn't want to pay for the delivery men to deliver it to his apartment because he only lives a few blocks away from the furniture place, and so instead he enlists the help of Rachel and Chandler to move his sofa. And Ross's only instructions to move the sofa upstairs is to pivot, and it is hilarious and I love it so much. And I actually do remember the second story in this episode, and it is when Phoebe discovers a police badge in Central Perk and she pretends to be a cop, which is the introduction to the character Officer Gary, I think his name is. Basically the guy that Phoebe dates for a while. Wasn't a big fan of him, but definitely in love with the scene where Ross is yelling pivot. It's just a really great scene from Friends and very quotable in everyday life. And yeah, if you guys recognize the reference, if someone yells pivot in public, then I want to be your friend because we understand each other on a whole other level. But yeah, so those were my favorite Friends episodes of all time. I hope that you guys liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. And let me know in the comments below what your favorite Friends episode is. If I had to pick one in particular that's like my all-time favorite, I think it would be the one with the embryos, just because of the quiz that goes on between Rachel, Monica, and Chandler and Joey. I just think that it's so much fun to watch. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys. So the first thing that I cannot live without is my leather jacket. So